Okay, this is Leanne Steffen, Vice Chair, filling in for Chair Jansen's. And I'd like to call the order of the Historic Landmarks Commission for May 22nd, 2025. We have roll call.
Yes. Commissioner Castillo-White.
Here.
Chair Jansen's. Commissioner Stevens. Here. Commissioner Kester.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
And Vice Chair Steffen.
Here. You'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So item number 2, public comment on non-agenda items. We do not have any public today.
There's Paul online.
I'm here.
Do you have any?
Oh, yeah, I do. Paul Wilcox, Troutdale. You guys should have gotten a handout from Nick. It was intended for your packet, but didn't get there, I guess. Most of you have actually seen this already. It's an explanation of the schedule for appointing someone to TCAB from your group. And I'll just summarize what's in there, since you probably haven't had a chance to read it. I can summarize it in a minute, in a sentence or two. Basically, the ordinance says, the ordinance that created TCAB requires that you appoint someone and have them in place before July 1st, when the term year for all the committees begins. So I'm letting you guys know in May so that you can do that in June, which is your last opportunity. I think that covers it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Did we assign someone to, or did someone volunteer to do that?
I have done it for the previous year, but I have, since I have been newly appointed to Planning Commission, I was intending to let somebody else take the HOC slot for TCAB.
Do you want to, because I could make the motion that we wait for the June meeting to make a decision.
Yeah,
That work?
yeah, might as well.
So if you want to do that, and then we can hash it out at the next meeting.
Does it even need a motion? Just need to ask staff to put
Yeah,
it
you
on
can
the
just tell me
agenda.
and that's fine.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how the process is for agenda.
Great, yeah, I'll add that for next month.
Great, thank you. We move on to number 3, discussion of approved code language for district application.
Yeah, so this is what we were working on, I think 2 meetings ago, and then last meeting we were looking to get like a consensus from you guys, but I didn't give you any paper copies. So it made it tricky for you guys to review. So now you have packets with paper versions. It is what we went over last time. I made a few revisions that we talked about during, what was it? Not April. March's meeting. So there's 2 versions. There's one that's, I guess like kind of the final, or in quotes, final, more polished version. And then there's one with, I think it's in blue, showing like what's changed. And I can, if you'd like, I can just go over and highlight the items changing. It should be pretty quick. So under number 1 for purpose, we added a comma and took away an and, added a comma and or. For 3 approval criteria, 3A, we added some parentheses. under or of extraordinary historic importance if under 50 years. One of the subcategories under A3, survey documentation, instead of all, we changed it to the, because I think we thought all seemed a little intimidating and honestly kind of unrealistic. Yeah. BI, I added an N, so patterns is now a word instead of patters. And then B4, Aaron's brought this up, that having this criteria saying be listed on the National Register of Historic Places is redundant. So I have like a question mark saying, do we just want that gone, or do we want redundancy?
I say get rid of it, because anything that's already on the historic register is gonna tick every one of those other boxes.
Excuse me, Diane, where is it redundant, from where?
Yeah, that's the same question.
Is it earlier, because if it's in somewhere else, I don't think extra clarification if anybody just goes to this document and reads it in its completeness. So is it somewhere else? Where is it redundant?
Let's read it. I think it was chiefly Aaron with the argument, so I'll try and piece it together. So the proposed district area must meet one of the following. I think her argument was if it's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, then of course it meets at least one of the three, I think, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think the redundancy is a conceptual one, in that if it's already on the register, it's going to tick all of the other boxes naturally.
Yeah, this is Frank. I mean, I read it basically as if this is the criteria, and it should, I see that as staying, because that's the criteria. And I think for clarification for people that are coming into it and reading it, I read it that way. And I don't see a redundancy there. So it's like, this is the check marks. And yes, we check this one or this one or this one or this one, but if you take it away, then that one's no longer a check mark.
I agree.
I agree.
Keep it? Sweet. All right, I'll just edit what I have over here.
I believe Aaron wanted to move it to this month so that everyone had an opportunity to review this, so does everyone feel comfortable with what we have?
Yeah.
We need to have a motion.
If anyone says yes, I think that works. I'm happy to read it out loud and go through it again before you guys decide. Whatever works.
I'll move that we approve the code language for district application as amended.
Second.
Except for that we're keeping, we're not taking away the last.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's still there, it's just removing we've resolved the question as to whether or not it stays or goes.
Perfect. Okay, everyone in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Sweet.
Excellent. Okay, item number B, community flyer for future district. Is this for the, like, First Friday, booth?
Yeah, it could be. Me and Erica were talking, and I think it was kind of part of our conversation last meeting too, that of the area that we're proposing for the district, it might be good if we try and work on like a handout, just saying, don't panic, you know, like here's what's happening. Here's contact info, here's some bullet points explaining why you shouldn't be worried about this and why it's a good thing. And if anyone's motivated, you could like put flyers on doors. We could do it as a tabling effort somewhere. I was looking for like a discussion if you guys had ideas on how you think would be like the best way to go about that. If that sounds like a good idea.
The flyer or the distribution?
Both.
This is Frank. My first question would be, who's gonna do the flyer? Is that us or you, or
The creation of it or the distribution of it? I can do
like a rough draft?
the actual creation of it, but I'd love to hear if there's like key points you guys want on there, or themes, or anything you can think of that would be like, oh, we can't forget this.
This is kind of an informational, is
Yeah.
what we're planning to do. So I think starting out with the story of where the Hungry Hill name came from.
Like a brief like narrative.
Just a brief narrative of.
And I would also include that the historic landmarks did research and found this area of historic significance. And this was just to let them know this is where it started from. That will help, and so they don't think, oh, it's the counselor's trying to figure out how to create regulation. Do you know what I mean? So it's like tell the story of how this came about.
Yeah, this is Frank. Yeah, I think it's important that we highlight the fact that there's no teeth to this as far as building code. It really is informational, historic information, and it won't lead to any other type of action. I think that's a key point as well. There's
We're
no,
highlighting our history.
yeah, this public notice, this isn't like a development notice, so
No.
it's a courtesy.
Yeah.
Because it's not a type 4, right?
It will be, but I think I think what sparked it is when we were at CAC, Aaron and I explaining, hey, here's what we're doing at HLC, we're gonna make a historic district. One of the commissioners or committee members had many concerns immediately about regulations,
Yeah.
despite us saying there's no intention to have regulations. There's still like alarm bells ringing. And I think for going forward with it, while we're having to like notice the city when we do the type 4, it'd be good if citizens, especially in the district area, were aware and just had some sort of like firsthand physical knowledge of like
So
what we're
you see
doing.
the process is create the flyer, we review the flyer, and then we give it basically to those people first before we kick it out to the populace.
I think then, period for the physical copy, and then on a page on the website, we could have the flyer exist electronically for anyone who'd want it.
Do we have it send out on social media?
Yeah, absolutely, we could do that too.
Yeah.
And as we talked about it, Diane, at CAC, it made sense to them that we said they want to know what was all involved. So we're just doing toppers, and we're also creating some type of signage at some point that explains the historic significance of Hungry Hill.
Yeah.
So that made sense to them. It's the excitement of just, creating our space even more special by informing them of the history of the location. That is basically what we're doing here for those that live here especially, and then tourists or anybody else that would come upon our town.
And it probably goes without saying, we want a diagram or a map or something. This is a visual of what the area is, and it might be nice to have, if there's a real clean historic photo of something in that area, so.
We do have a historic photo that was taken from the water tower.
Yeah,
that'd be
I remember
fun to see
seeing
on there.
And so it shows bare land, few houses dotted, it really gives you an idea that
That's a great idea.
it's uphill.
Yeah, that sounds like that'd be great. Are you able to track it down, or do you have?
I can look into that.
Right, sweet.
This is Diane. Is there also an image of Celestia, or whatever her name is, Harlow?
Do we have a picture of Celestia?
Because that was part of the significance too, is who did the plat?
Oh.
And why that's part of the historic relevance as well.
So maybe just, the historic plat on there also. And add a little, do we have a picture of her? I don't
Well,
know.
because the thing is, the more things we put, just to tell them, hey, you guys are included in this really special, unique area that we're just trying to designate and share the story of. So the more that we highlight those things, and that's all we're trying to do, is share history, then they get excited too, well, all the things that are special to us, so,
Yeah,
all right,
One thing we do want to probably be cognizant of in the creation of the flyer, though, is that, and it is, the format we're looking at is a flyer, and we can't include too much, otherwise it gets overwhelming for people who are receiving it really fast, and it potentially drowns out one of the most critical messages that we're trying to get across is, don't panic.
Well, it could be two-sided, so you can add a little bit.
Yeah, but I guess my point is we have vast quantities of information that could potentially get people excited, but we will have to kind of be a little choosy as to what goes on it.
I think in the narrative that could explain, and, if we're staying on the history end of it and it's really explaining our purpose, we don't have to even address the other because it won't even be mentioned. Because our focus is history, it's not regulation.
but, or unless you have a little bar that says what this will not do. I mean, I don't think it hurts to let them know too, because, and the thing what you're saying is you don't want to put too much, but visually you can be creative and you know what letter font to make bigger, what to make smaller, what to make an image, and so on, so that the message, the highlights will be,
Highlighted.
will be highlighted.
That's where and that's where talented graphic designers come in.
There we go.
Is
Yeah.
that they're able to make the most out of the graphic real estate.
Yeah.
Cause obviously there are books that have been and could be written and about this, but this is the educational, the Reader's Digest version of the educational piece for people who are old enough to know what that is.
yeah. Unfortunately, I am. This is Frank. Yeah, so I think the details can be in the Troutdale, that next section for the champion article. And that's where you can really get into the weeds about the history, and I think that would be, and maybe even reach out to the Historical Society and ask for their input.
They could add it to their newsletter.
Yeah. And I know I've been talking to Chris about First Fridays and potentially utilizing the rail station at the visitor center to advertise Historic Landmarks Commission as well, so it's an opportunity. I don't think we'll make the June cutoff, but maybe August.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's an option.
Yeah, that is tricky, how it is a small amount of space we're working with,
Yeah.
and essentially deciding what's worthy of the paper or not. There could be, I think the champion article is a great idea to overflow of actual detail. We could also explore, again, a page on our website where we could say on a flyer saying, go to this link for more info, if this catches your attention.
Yeah.
Here's the color commentary where you can dive in, or even links to, I'm sure the Historical Society probably has much better resources regarding this that we can craft up. We could have links if there's anything relevant on those websites.
That's true.
Yeah.
We could go
possibly.
crazy.
We could also refer them to come to a historic landmark meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have concerns. or
Yeah,
want
because then that way they
information.
come, when you come in person, you're seeing the people, and then, you know, especially us who are drafting this,
Or online.
yeah.
Even,
Or,
even the
yeah.
champion, we're gonna be limited on space and how much we can,
Right,
Yeah.
well, the champion will probably be even more limited, because there it's primarily text. Where in a flyer that we're distributing or posting, we can get kind of creative with the graphic
Yeah.
layouts, design.
So, this is Frank. If you need a volunteer for distribution, I can help you out with that. I just did the wildfire distribution over in Sandy Palisades, so,
Yeah,
kind of similar. Probably less houses.
probably less houses.
more
Thanks,
hill.
Yeah, more hill.
I'm okay with the hill. I got turbo on my e-bike.
This is Diane. Being on the Citizens Advisory Committee, I don't think it's a bad idea to give them a date on when they could come if they do have questions.
Oh, sure.
Do you
Instead
know
of,
what I mean? And that way we could do, if there's anybody here, we could do a mini presentation
Yeah.
or discussion about it, or any of the flyers that we have to blow up or to have to hand out.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great idea.
yeah,
It's an opportunity to advertise.
it is. And
like
then
a
a date, an official
open
date.
house
Yep,
kind of
yep.
thing.
Yep,
Yep, us open to the people, and then, and if we actually do that, we could even possibly have a little presenter to talk a little bit about Hungry Hill too. I don't know if Sharon would come in and, you know what I mean? Talk a little bit, give us a 10-minute,
Maybe.
you know what I mean? Keep it short and sweet, but make it a little bit fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that idea. That's great.
because ultimately, the one thing that we're really trying to avoid is having, the first time that anybody hears about this is when the type 4 notices go out, when this goes in front of planning commission.
Yep.
Exactly right. We're all trying to avoid people calling us right when that notice goes out. Or they're welcome to call us, but not like angry, I don't
Right.
understand what's happening calls.
I mean, obviously, the public is welcome at those too. But that's sort of the end of the process, the end of the line, and we're trying to front load things.
Yeah, this is great.
So, could you read back what you've got, Tim?
I can. I have excellent bullet points. So we have like a brief historical narrative, sort of something that identifies like the place as significant, like in the narrative saying this is why it's important, like something that enforces there will be no regulatory teeth. I have a point that just says like utilize social media. Tie in that this is for the goal of like sign toppers and a like interpretive sign, some sort of like, I think we were talking about like kind of a plaque type thing. There's,
Oh, the, what was that called? The interpretive, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. A visual of the district boundary. Historic photo, question mark. What the district will not do. And then I have encourage HLC meeting attendance, but I think that's shifted into advertise like a specific date. So I'll get rid of, in general, encourage and say, hey, this is the time.
Did you have on there a link to the city's website for more information? Where it's
Yeah, I
really
do
detailed?
not.
Actually, this is Frank. Could you do a QR code?
Yeah, we could definitely do a QR code.
I've used that in the past. It works really well.
Especially for flyers that are
Yeah.
posted and handed out, that's gonna be way easier to deal with
Yeah.
than,
Most people have their cell phone and just go, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Sweet. Does that sound all right as a starting point for me?
Yep.
Yep.
Great.
Is that something that you can have ready for next month?
I can certainly try.
Okay,
That was neither yes nor no. Well played. Well played.
whatever you could do would be much appreciated. So shall we move on to the next item?
To a certain extent, we already did, because we talked about the champion article as part of this.
Okay. Shall we move on to staff communications?
Sure.
Is there anything else for that topic?
What else? Oh, CLG, Certified Local Government, we applied as of Tuesday.
I'm sorry, repeat?
The Certified Local Government
Okay,
application, we've been getting like the resumes and all that stuff for. So we applied. So that process is finally out of our hands and now in someone else's court to approve. And then there were interviews, like commission interviews on, was it Tuesday?
Yesterday?
Yesterday?
Yep.
No,
No, it was
sorry,
Tuesday.
Tuesday, you're right.
It was Tuesday.
Okay.
My days are mixed up.
I don't know the outcome of them at all. My intention was to say it to segue Erin to speaking about any potential new HLC members, but she is not here to segue.
I know there are new HOC members. At least I think.
Yeah.
I think there's two, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. I know I listened to the end of the end of the meeting as the names were rattled off, but I don't obviously have substance then.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, as far as staff updates, relevant to HLC, I think that's all I got.
Okay. And any comments from commissioners?
This is Frank. I had a question for Nick. I think we have a street tree planting coming up. Is there a project for that?
Street tree planting?
Street tree, yeah, an actual street tree plan for the city.
Oh, we recently got a grant it's like an urban forestry grant
Okay.
that Public Works, Parks, and Planning is working on. I think Eric is the one who wrote the grant. And I think it's like an audit of our current street tree code and like requirements for like new developers and requirements for it. So I think it's very early stages, but we did receive money to like explore.
The reason I ask is from a historical landmark perspective. Landmark trees is part of our game. So I know at one point we actually asked that question. So if that's on their list, I would explore that.
Their list of
Yeah.
identifying the landmark trees
Mhm.
or potential landmark trees?
Or potential landmark trees, yeah.
So I can name a few.
Yeah, I know Gresham actually had a landmark tree bike ride, go figure.
Oh, cool.
Which was pretty cool. So it was an opportunity to actually see trees that have been there longer than I've been around, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was cool. But that would be nice to see in Troutdale as well, so.
It would be. That'd be really neat if we get to a point where we have enough where we could have like a route to go see it. That'd be,
Yeah, it'd be very cool.
yeah.
As well as architecture as well. I think that's, from a historical perspective, I've seen both in different cities. And if we can explore that for the historical commission, I think that would be useful as a way for us to market the commission as well.
Yeah.
That's it. No big deal.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Not strictly HLC related, but just sort of throwing it out for just people's interest. June 14th, down at Glen Auto Park in the Sam Cox Building is round 2 of our Troutdale game day. It's being run through Parks and Rec. So any and all are welcome to come down and bring families or bring friends and play games.
What time is that, easy?
That runs from 9 to 12:30 off the top of my head.
And what kind of games, these board games, these video?
Board games, all board games,
All board games,
all board games, board games, card games, tabletop stuff,
okay. How was the turnout for the first one?
light,
Yeah.
but it was the first one.
Yeah, gotta get the word out.
So, I'm working with Parks to increase the Facebook posts on it and possibly get something posted down at First Friday. Maybe even the Arts Festival too, I don't know, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some more people.
Great. Anything else?
The only thing is, for action, if Nick is going to potentially maybe have this done next month, if, we confirm that you are, trying to get a map, and then maybe we could ask the Historical Society if they have an image of Celestia Harlow, or, I just saw her grave marker. That's all I could find online.
Where is she buried? Probably.
Portland,
Probably
I could
where
have swore I saw one, and I can't remember where.
Captain Harlan's buried.
Cobalt, Bank, Portland, USA, burial, Lone Fir Pioneer Cemetery,
Yeah, I think.
Portland,
that's where
Multnomah
it is.
County.
Well, I cannot remember. Her.
Looks like she's got an obelisk on her site. But anyway,
Okay. Anything else?
Not for me.
Anyone else? Ready to adjourn?
Mhm.
Paul, thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
I hope Aaron's okay.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
I'm scared if she will respond.
Yeah, she typically doesn't miss.
Okay, oh.
Did she respond?
She's jumping in the car now at 7:24.
Oh, boy, should we hear that?
That's unfortunate.